Hey, y'all, from NPR, I'm Sam Sanders. It's been a minute. Happy weekend. Listeners, my guest here, Anya Kamenetz, education correspondent for NPR, and Rose Friedman, editor and reporter for NPR's Arts Desk. And they both have 3 words about their week of news. To start us off, I'm going to have Anya go first. What are your 3 words?
Okay, Sam. My 3 words are safety versus surveillance.
Okay, I choose safety.
There you go. So this is a story I've been following for a while, which is that there's a confluence of 2 things, which is, there's this incredible fear about mass shootings happening in American schools.
Yeah.
At the same time, you've got, a lot more kind of online systems happening in schools. So students are using Google Docs. They are doing a lot of their homework online. And, of course, they're on social media. So there are these companies that have sprung up, and they say, we will use artificial intelligence, machine learning. We will sift through all of the posts that students make, whether they're on Twitter or whether they're doing their homework, and we will look for scary things.
And these are private companies.
Private
companies for the schools, for police departments.
Right. And it's the schools that are paying them. So
Gotcha.
the partnership with law enforcement, that varies. But
okay.
The information goes through the schools, the kind of red flags.
Gotcha. Talk us through some of what this surveillance looks like.
So some of the companies I looked into in the fall scan posts within the student community, like I mentioned. So if they're using school software, and this could be, by the way, this could be an email, this could be a calendar entry, it could be your class assignment. Whether it's at school or at home, if you say words that are connected to a long list of things, there's red flag words, that could trigger something happening. So, either school could get involved or cops could get involved, depending on what the thing is. And, usually it's not a shooting. If it's violence, it's usually self-harm, sadly. That's way, way more common than any kind of shooting. And so there are examples where administrators have said to me, we found a thing that we would not have known about. It was a kid who was running away or was a kid who was threatening something, and we were able to stop it.
And so this is big in the news this week because now there is a bill in the U.S. Senate that was introduced this week that might make this kind of thing happen across the country. What's that about?
Yeah, it would make it mandatory. So so Senator John Cornyn, he's a Republican from Texas, introduced what is called the Restoring, Enhancing, Strengthening, and Promoting Our Nation's Safety Efforts.
What's that acronym?
Response.
Okay.
Response. It's the Response Act. Okay. And so, it's directed at mass violence, and there's a hodgepodge of things in there that make some people happy, some people unhappy. There's some gun control stuff. There's some mental health stuff, which is interesting because actually mental health advocates were like, we like mental health funding, but please don't put it in this mass violence bill because the 2 things have nothing to do with each other. But there's a provision in here that would mandate that school districts buy this technology and use this technology on their students, which would about a third of districts are using it now. So it would be a huge ramp up.
I'm wondering, do the students have any privacy rights here? Is there any part of their online life that is not eligible?
That is a great question. And first of all, privacy rights in general are not great, right? Students don't have a choice of whether or not they go to school. And if they're going to school, they're using school software. They don't have a choice of that either. And so basically the answer is no. And if you talk to the companies, they will say, look, once these students get into the workplace, their boss will be reading their emails. So they just need to get used to it.
Wow.
What is the most invasive that we've seen this kind of in-school surveillance become? Is there an example of a bananas kind of, whoa, they did what?
In general, there's false positives, right? So you see the basketball shooting clinic might put up a red flag, or a To Kill a Mockingbird might put up a red flag.
Wow.
What's going on even beyond that, so this is all about text-based stuff, is now there have been some schools and some districts that have moved to facial recognition.
Really?
Cameras, yes. And that's been super controversial. And then there's an audio recognition thing. So there was something that was profiled by ProPublica that showed that the schools have installed these listeners, and they're supposed to detect vocal tension.
Wait, like mics to pick up the classroom sounds?
Mics to pick up the classrooms, the cafeterias, the hallways. And it's supposed to use AI to see if there's going to be a fight coming by the tone of voice that students use. And if you've ever been in a high school, I don't know if you guys, it is loud in there.
It's always
loud
about
and
to be a
tense.
fight.
Yeah.
It is always loud. And so the thing is that this technology is not that advanced.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it would be applied by law is something that privacy advocates are freaking out.
I mean, the thing that it reminds me most of is that movie Minority Report, where they're do you remember that movie?
Oh, Tom Cruise, precogs, a screen where you can see everything. Yeah.
Exactly, and they're using that, I mean, a similar kind of technology to try to predict crimes. But the point of the movie is that it backfires and it doesn't work.
Because, and this is so true for kids too, because when you start casting someone as a criminal and you say you're a potential criminal.
They fulfill the prophecy.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. And this really is a question of resources, right? Because, these days about 14 million students go to a school that has a cop but zero mental health staff.
You're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, the show where we catch up on the week that was. I'm Sam Sanders, here with two guests, editor and reporter for NPR's Arts Desk, Rose Friedman, and Anya Kamenetz, education correspondent for NPR.